My stepmom gave my late mom's jewelry to her daughter as a wedding gift without asking me. Years later, they tried to sell them and found out they were worthless because I swapped the real pieces with perfect copies. I 25F have something to get off my chest because I feel like I'm losing my mind over this. So some background. I lost my mom to cancer a few years ago, and it was the hardest thing I've ever been through. She was my best friend, my rock, the person who always made me feel safe. She wasn't just my mom, she was my home. When she passed, the grief was unbearable. Everything in my life changed in an instant, and the only thing that brought me even a little comfort was the jewelry she left behind. My mom loved her jewelry. She wasn't rich or anything, but she had a collection of beautiful pieces she had gathered over the years. Some for my dad, some she bought for herself, and some passed down from her side of the family. She used to tell me the story behind every single piece. There was a delicate gold bracelet she got from my grandma when she turned 18, a locket with a tiny picture of me as a baby inside a gorgeous sapphire ring that my dad gave her on their anniversary, and a few others. They were a total of 6 pieces that were very dear to her heart. Even when she got sick, she would still put on her jewelry. Some days when the chemo made her too weak to get out of bed, she'd still wear her favorite rings or earrings just to feel like herself. She'd smile at them in the mirror as if they made her feel a little more alive. After she passed, her jewelry became my most prized possession. Not because of the value, but because it was all I had left of her. Every piece carried a memory, a moment in time when she was still here, still laughing. Then came my dad's new wife, Martha, 57F, and her daughter, Robin, 24F. To be clear, I never liked them. I tried at first, but something about them always rubbed me the wrong way. My dad married Martha barely a year after my mom passed, which already made me feel sick. I wasn't ready for him to move on, and honestly it felt like he wasn't either, but he did it anyway. Martha was fine, I guess, in that fake, polite way. She acted sweet, but I always got the sense she saw me as some kind of obstacle instead of part of her new family. And Robin was spoiled, entitled, and had this way of talking to me like she was better than me even though we were basically the same age. Fast forward to a year ago, Robin was getting married. Big fancy wedding, huge guest list, the whole thing, and Martha decided that she wants to give my mom's jewelry to Robin as a wedding gift. She didn't even ask me. She just assumed it was hers to give. I found out when I overheard her on the phone gushing to a friend about how Robin would look stunning in the sapphire ring and how she was planning to gift it to her during the bridal shower. My heart stopped. She was talking about my mom's ring. My ring, the ring my dad gave my mom when they were still happy when she was still alive. The one she used to wear even when her hands got frail and thin from the treatments. I confronted her immediately. I asked her what the hell she was talking about, and she just gave me this look like I was being dramatic and said, "Oh, sweetheart, it's a family heirloom. It should stay in the family." I told her point blank that this jewelry wasn't hers to give away, that it was my mother's, that it was mine now, and that she had no right to even touch it, let alone gift it to Robin. She acted all surprised, like she genuinely couldn't understand why I was upset. She even had the audacity to tell me that Robin was my sister now, and that I should want her to have something special on her wedding day. I was shaking at this point. I told her Robin is not my sister, and that my mom's jewelry was not some hand-me-down she could just give away like it was hers. And then my dad got involved. I thought stupidly that he would be on my side, that he would remember how much this jewelry meant to my mom, to me, that he would put his foot down and tell Martha to back off. But no, my dad, the man who watched my mom cherish these pieces her entire life, who saw how much they meant to her, actually told me to relax. He said, "It's just jewelry, Alex. It's a family heirloom. It should go to Robin since she's getting married first." I was stunned. I asked him if my mom would have wanted that, if he actually thought my mom, his wife of over 2 decades, would have been okay with this. He had the nerve to tell me that I was being selfish, that Robin was starting a new chapter in her life, and that I should be happy for her instead of holding on to the past, holding on to the past. That was my mother. We're talking about my dead mother. I lost it. I told him that if he let Martha or Robin take even one piece of my mother's jewelry, I would never forgive him, that I would never speak to him again. He just sighed like I was some annoying child throwing a tantrum and told me to think about it. I took some time to think about what my dad said, not because I was actually considering giving up my mom's jewelry, but because I realized something. If I kept fighting them head-on, I would lose. My dad wasn't going to back me up. That much was clear. And Martha was determined. I could see it in the way she smirked whenever I got upset, like she was enjoying watching me squirm. If I kept arguing, she would find a way to get what she wanted. I knew that if I kept pushing, my dad would probably just take the jewelry himself and hand it over to Robin. And once it was gone, it would be gone. Robin would take it, wear it, probably treat it like any other accessory, and I'd never see it again. I couldn't let that happen. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I played along. A few hours after our argument, I went downstairs and told my dad and Martha that I had thought about it, and that they were right, that I had been too emotional, that I needed to stop holding on to the past, and that maybe it was time to let go. Martha looked so smug. It took everything in me not to roll my eyes when she gave me that fake sympathetic smile and said, "Oh, sweetheart, I knew you'd come around. It's what your mother would have wanted." I wanted to scream, but instead I smiled back and nodded like I agreed with her. I even said that I thought Robin would love the jewelry and that it was nice for her to have something meaningful to wear on her wedding day. My dad looked relieved, like he had been dreading another fight. Inside, I was already planning my next move. I had an old friend from college, Lauren 25F, who I hadn't spoken to in a while. We were never super close, but she was really nice and kind. And as luck would have it, her brother James was a jeweler. I reached out to her and after some catching up, casually brought up that I needed some custom work done. Nothing too fancy, just some very realistic imitation pieces. She was curious, of course, but I kept it vague. I just said I needed some duplicates made and was willing to pay whatever it cost. She put me in touch with her brother, and after explaining what I needed, he agreed to do it. I met up with him the next week and handed over the pieces I suspected Martha was planning to give to Robin. The sapphire ring, the gold bracelet, the locket, a pair of diamond earrings, a pearl necklace, and a small but sentimental brooch. I wasn't sure which one Martha had picked, so I had to be safe. James was good at what he did. When he handed me the finished imitations, I almost couldn't tell the difference. The weight was a little off, and if you looked really closely, you could see some imperfections, but to the average person, they were identical. He even made sure to scuff them up just enough to make them look aged. The hardest part was swapping them out without Martha noticing. She was already acting like she owned them going into my room under the excuse of just checking where they were, so I had to be careful. I waited until the day before the wedding. Martha and my dad were out running last-minute errands and Robin was busy with whatever brides do before their big day. That gave me just enough time to switch out the real jewelry with the fakes. I made sure everything was exactly where it had been before. The same boxes, the same arrangement, nothing that would make them suspicious. And then I waited. That night, Martha called me downstairs. I had to force myself to act normal when she handed me a glass of wine and said, "I just wanted to thank you again for being so mature about this, Alex. I know this was hard for you, but you're doing the right thing." I was doing the right thing. All right. For the next year, everything was fine. Life went on, and I honestly thought I had gotten away with it. Robin wore the necklace a few times, and Martha would make little comments here and there about how stunning she looked in my mom's jewelry. I had to bite my tongue every single time, but at least I knew the real pieces were safe. I had already moved most of my mom's actual jewelry into a safe deposit box at the bank, except for a few sentimental pieces I kept with me. I wasn't taking any chances. I had outplayed Martha and I thought that was the end of it. But then 2 weeks ago, I got the call. It was my dad. He sounded annoyed, like he had been dealing with some drama all day. And honestly, he had, because apparently Martha and Robin had decided to take the jewelry to an appraiser, and the appraiser told them it was fake. I almost dropped my phone. I had spent the past year thinking they would never even think to get the jewelry appraised. I mean, they took it because it was a family heirloom, right? Something passed down, not something you sell or question. Why would they need to get it appraised unless they were planning to sell it? And honestly, that realization made me even angrier than before. It just proved that I had been right all along. This wasn't about sentiment. This wasn't about family. If they had really cared about it as a family heirloom, they never would have questioned its authenticity. But no, they wanted to see how much they could get for it. I had to think fast, so I played dumb. I acted surprised. I even threw in a confused little "wait. What do you mean fake?" Just for effect. He told me the appraiser said it's not real. He said it looks good, but it's an imitation. Robin and Martha are freaking out. They think you did something. I nearly had a heart attack right then and there, but I forced myself to stay calm. "That's weird," I said. I don't know anything about that. But why were they getting it appraised? I thought it was a family piece. That shut him up for a second. He fumbled for a response, and I could hear the hesitation in his voice. Well, they just wanted to check the value, just to know. Yeah, sure. I kept up the act, acting all confused and concerned. I even had the nerve to say, wow, that's crazy. Maybe the jeweler made a mistake. Or maybe it was always fake and Mom just never knew. I think that last part threw him off because he started defending my mom, saying that she would never have worn fake jewelry, which, yeah, she wouldn't. But I had to make him start doubting everything to steer the suspicion away from me. Eventually, he said he'd call me later and hung up. And that's when the anxiety really hit. I know I should feel good about this. I should feel like I won because honestly, I did. I outsmarted them. They tried to take something that wasn't theirs, and I made sure they couldn't. But now knowing that they suspect me, that's a whole other level of stress. I don't know how much they actually believe I had something to do with it, but I know Martha. She's probably livid right now. She's probably tearing through every old photo of my mom wearing her jewelry, comparing it to what she is now trying to find proof. God, I can only imagine how Robin's reacting. I keep telling myself that they have no real evidence, that even if they suspect me, they can't prove anything. The only people who know the truth are me, my old friend Lauren, and her brother James. And neither of them have any reason to say anything. But still, what if they don't let this go? What if they keep pushing? What if they find some way to prove what I did? I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. Every time my phone rings, my heart jumps. Every time I see my dad's name pop up on my screen, I hesitate before answering. Because what if this is the call where he demands the truth? I don't regret what I did. Not for a second. If I had to do it all over again, I would. But now, I just keep wondering what happens next. What should I do? Update 1. Hey everyone, it's been a wild couple of weeks, and I figured I should update since things did not go the way I expected. So after my last post, I was living in constant anxiety. Every time my phone rang, my heart dropped. Every time I saw a text from my dad, I braced myself for him to finally call me out. I kept telling myself that they had no proof, that all I had to do was stay calm, and it would blow over. Well, spoiler alert, it didn't blow over. It exploded. About a week after that call, my dad showed up at my apartment unannounced. This man has never done that before. I opened the door and he was standing there looking pissed. He didn't even say hello. Just stormed past me like he had every right to be there. He turns to me and goes, "Martha wants to take legal action." I kept my face neutral and said, "Legal action for what?" He crossed his arms and said, "For the stolen jewelry." I stared at him for a second, trying to figure out if he was serious. He was. I told him, first of all, you can't steal something that already belongs to you. That mom literally left those to me in her legal will. And second, I didn't steal anything. That set him off. He went on this whole rant about how I was being selfish, how Robin is family, and how my mom would have wanted me to share. He hit me with, "Why would an appraiser say it's fake if you didn't switch it?" Now here's where I almost slipped up. I was getting mad and I wanted to snap back, but I took a breath and said, "I don't know, Dad. Maybe it was always fake." That made him hesitate just for a second. But then he shook his head and said, "That's impossible. Your mother's jewelry was real." And I told him, then why were they trying to get it appraised? I saw it in his face. He knew what I was implying, that Martha and Robin were planning to sell my mom's jewelry. And now that they couldn't, they were mad about it. That's when his whole attitude changed. He wasn't yelling anymore. He didn't say anything and left. I thought maybe that would be the end of it. It wasn't. A couple of days later, my aunt from my mom's side, Sydney 53F, called me. She was furious. Apparently, Martha had been running her mouth to the entire family, claiming that I stole Robin's wedding jewelry and replaced it with fakes. She was acting like she was the victim in all of this, telling everyone that I had betrayed the family. Sydney wasn't buying it, though. She told me that there is no way she would have wanted Robin to have that jewelry. My mom had also told Sydney specifically wanted me to keep her jewelry. She knew my dad might remarry someday, and she was worried that a new wife might try to claim it. My mom knew. I started crying on the phone, not just because I was relieved, but because I felt vindicated. My mom would have wanted me to do exactly what I did. Update 2. Hey everyone. I wasn't planning on updating again, but this story isn't over. Just when I thought things had finally settled, life threw me another curveball. And this time, I didn't even have to do anything. Martha just exposed herself in the most spectacular way possible. So after my last update, Martha and Robin had their big falling out. Robin felt betrayed that she didn't get the jewelry and was furious that she had gone through all that drama for nothing. They barely spoke for weeks. I thought that was the end of it. But a few days ago, I got a long text from Robin. And by long, I mean novel length. She was basically ranting about how I was a terrible sister and how I ruined her wedding memories. She claimed that I lied about the jewelry being fake and that she deserved the real pieces because she was part of the family now. And then she said the absolute dumbest thing she could have possibly said. I don't care if you switch them. I just want the real ones back. So she does know I switched them. At this point, I was so over this drama, I just replied, Robin, I have no idea what you're talking about. The jewelry you got is the jewelry you were given. She flipped out. She started calling me a liar, saying that she knew the jewelry was switched, that she and Martha had proof, and that they were going to make sure paid for what I did. The next day, my dad calls me, and he sounds so done with everything. He goes, Martha wants to press charges. I actually laughed. I asked, on what grounds, possession of my own inheritance? Apparently, Martha was serious. She had gone to a lawyer trying to figure out if she could sue me for theft. But the lawyer basically told her that since the jewelry was never legally hers to give away, she had no case. She was furious. So furious that she ended up accidentally telling on herself. Because during her angry rant, she admitted to my dad that she had always intended to give Robin my mom's jewelry no matter what. She admitted that she never planned to ask me because she thought I was being selfish, and that Robin deserved to have it as a wedding gift. I don't know what exactly snapped in my dad's brain, but something finally clicked. Maybe it was the fact that Martha straight up admitted that she didn't care about my mom's wishes. Maybe it was the fact that she had been lying to him all this time. Or maybe he just realized how stupid this entire situation was. Either way, I got another call from him later that night. This time, he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at Martha. He actually apologized. He admitted that he had been an idiot for not seeing through Martha's manipulation. He admitted that my mom's jewelry should have never been up for discussion. And then he said something I never expected. I think I made a mistake marrying her. I don't care what happens in my dad's marriage. That's his problem. But the fact that he said that, that's huge. The next day, he and Martha got into a fight again. He told her that she was completely out of line and that she had no right to take my mom's things. And Martha lost it. She went on this huge rant about how I was turning him against her, how she was just trying to be a good stepmother by giving Robin something meaningful, and how she deserved the jewelry more than I did because she was the new wife. The argument escalated, and then Martha packed a bag and left to stay with Robin for a few days. And my dad seems weirdly relieved. I don't know what is going to happen with their marriage next. Update 3. Hey everyone. I seriously did not expect to come back with another update, but well, things have officially imploded. And when I say imploded, I mean scorched earth, nuclear-level destruction. After my last update, things were weirdly quiet. Martha was still staying at Robin's place. My dad wasn't talking about her much, and I was just minding my own business, keeping my distance. I honestly thought she might be gearing up to come back and pretend nothing happened. Instead, Martha decided that if she was going down, she was going to take everyone with her. A week ago, my dad called me. He sounded exhausted. The first thing he said was, "You're not going to believe what Martha just did." Apparently, Martha decided to go full-on crazy and started airing out every secret she could. She contacted every relative on my dad's side and started spinning this insane narrative about how she was emotionally abused in the marriage, how my dad never treated her as an equal, and how I was a manipulative liar who stole from the family. She went all in. She started digging for dirt. Old arguments, past mistakes, anything she could use to turn people against me and my dad. But here's where it gets really good. Martha was so focused on destroying me and my dad that she forgot one very important detail. She had secrets too. And my dad finally decided to start looking into them. So after her dramatic meltdown, my dad did something he should have done years ago. He went through their finances, and he found that Martha had been siphoning money from their joint account for years. I'm talking thousands of dollars quietly disappearing into expenses that my dad never approved. Some of it went to Robin's wedding, some of it went to God knows what, and some of it just straight up vanished. My dad was livid, and when he confronted Martha about it, she did not deny it. She just shrugged and said something like, Well, I deserved it after everything I put up with. She married a man who paid for everything, let her daughter live rent-free, and gave her access to his money, and she still felt entitled to take more. The very next day, my dad met with a lawyer. He is officially filing for divorce. I don't think I've ever seen my dad this determined before. It's like he finally realized just how badly he was being used. Martha officially lost it. She showed up at the house while my dad wasn't home and started banging on the door, screaming about how she was being thrown away like garbage. I wasn't there, but my dad's security camera recorded her shouting about how she was going to ruin my dad in court. She ended up leaving before the cops got called, but something tells me this isn't over yet. Robin, being the loyal daughter she is, tried to convince my dad to fix things with Martha. She told him that if he really loved her, he wouldn't let me come between them. My dad told her that this has nothing to do with Alex. This has everything to do with her mother being a liar and a thief. She told my dad that if he divorces Martha, she's cutting him off forever. And my dad just said, okay. She did not expect that answer. She started crying about how family is supposed to stick together and that he's all she has left. My dad didn't say much and just hung up the call. I don't think I'll be updating again because honestly, I'm done with them. But I just wanted to share this final update because I never expected things to blow up this badly. Update 4. Hey Reddit, I know I said I wouldn't update again, but trust me, you're going to want to hear this. I wasn't expecting this level of chaos, but honestly, it's kind of poetic justice. After my last update, Martha finally seemed to accept that the divorce was happening. Instead of laying low and figuring out her next move like a normal person, she decided to double down on being the absolute worst. She went around telling everyone that my dad was abandoning her and that I had manipulated him into leaving her. She even had the audacity to claim that my dad had been emotionally abusive to her and that she was the victim in all of this. She even tried to fight the divorce and demand spousal support, even though she had been stealing money from my dad for years. Her logic was that she had given up so much to be with him and deserved to be compensated. Thankfully, my dad's lawyer was way ahead of her. Since my dad had clear proof that she was siphoning money, her little spousal support attempt completely backfired. Not only did the court deny her request, but now she's facing a potential lawsuit to pay my dad back. She lost everything. After losing the spousal support case and being completely cut off by my dad, Martha tried one last desperate move. She showed up at my dad's house claiming she needed to get some of her things. Now my dad isn't stupid. He knew she didn't leave anything valuable behind. So being the petty king that he is, he told her to send him a list and he'd have everything mailed to her. She started banging on the door, screaming about how he owed her at least a face-to-face conversation. When that didn't work, she started fake crying about how she just wanted to talk. But my dad just told her to go home. She finally stormed off, but not before yelling that he would regret this. And it gets better. Robin had dramatically told my dad that she was cutting him off forever if he went through with the divorce. That lasted about a month. Then she realized something very, very important. She needed money. Robin had always depended on my dad's generosity. He helped her with rent, covered some of her wedding costs, and even gave her extra cash when she was struggling. But now that gravy train was officially over, and Martha was not willing or capable to help her financially. Robin came crawling back to my dad. She actually had the nerve to call him sobbing about how she didn't mean it when she said she was cutting him off. She went on about how families should stick together and how she was struggling so much without his help. And my dad told her word for word, "Robin, I hope you figure it out, but I'm not your ATM." And then he hung up. She tried calling back multiple times, but he blocked her. This all started because Martha and Robin thought they could take what wasn't theirs. They thought they could erase my mom's memory, manipulate my dad, and bully me into giving up what was rightfully mine. And now they have nothing. I also want to thank all of you for your kind comments.